Hello, I'm Cynthia Nivyandi and welcome to the African News Network. We bring you a significant development in the global fight for gender equality and human rights. Amnesty International has called for gender apartheid to be recognized as a crime under international law. This bold initiative seeks to combat systemic oppression based on gender and address institutionalized regimes that perpetuate gender-based domination and violence. Amnesty International Secretary General Agnes Callamard has voiced a powerful appeal. The international community has failed to adequately recognize, acknowledge, and address the institutionalized and systemic domination and oppression of women, girls, and LGBTI people. We are calling for the recognition of gender apartheid under international law to fill a major gap in our global legal framework. No one should ever be permitted to violate, segregate, silence, or exclude people because of their gender. This statement underscores the urgency of recognizing gender apartheid under international law. The lack of such recognition is set to leave a significant gap in protecting women, girls, and LGBTQI individuals from systemic violence and oppression. Generations of women and girls worldwide have endured systemic violence and oppression, resulting in incalculable deaths and widespread denial of dignity, freedom, and equality. Despite this, the international legal framework has yet to comprehensively address this form of institutionalized oppression. The closest approximation under current law is a persecution based on gender recognized as a crime against humanity by the Rome Statutes of the International Criminal Court. However, this does not fully capture the extensive and institutionalized nature of said gender apartheid. Callamard emphasized the global urgency of this issue, stating that today, we are joining the calls of courageous trailblazers, including women of Afghanistan, Iran, and beyond, who have led the way in demanding recognition of gender apartheid in international law. States must heed this call. This form of institutionalized oppression must be named. A mandate for its investigation and prosecution must be affirmed, and due penalty for its commission set. We owe that recognition, rigor, and respect to the activists on the front lines of the struggle for gender rights and equality, and we owe that justice to the victims and survivors of gender apartheid. Now, in the context of many African countries, traditional and religious beliefs play a significant role in shaping societal norms and laws. Recognizing gender apartheid as a crime under international law presents an opportunity to harmonize global human rights standards with local customs, fostering an environment where all individuals are respected and valued. This recognition, however, should not seek to undermine cultural foundations, but rather to ensure that gender equity and the protection of individuals are upheld within these cultural contexts. Despite said challenges, some African countries have made significant strides in women's empowerment. Rwanda, for instance, boasts one of the highest percentages of women in government globally and has implemented numerous progressive gender policies. These strides demonstrate that African nations can, within their own capabilities, empower women and girls. Rwanda serves as a model for other nations on the continent, showing that progress can be made while respecting cultural values. In Kenya, recent protests against femicide and the killing of women highlight the urgent need to address gender-based violence and protect women's rights. These protests show that the people themselves are actively taking a stand against these issues. This grassroots movement plays a crucial role in driving systemic changes and ensuring that progress continues. The issue of LGBTQ rights remains contentious, with a growing perception that Western countries are imposing their values on African societies. Many African nations, such as Uganda and Ghana, have laws that criminalize same-sex relationships, reflecting deep-seated cultural and religious beliefs. The push to recognize gender apartheid under international law is seen by some as another example of Western countries attempting to dictate norms and policies and shove Western agendas down Africa's throat. Critics argue that Africa should be allowed to develop its own laws and customs without external pressure. The call to recognize gender apartheid as an international crime presents a complex challenge for Africa. While it aims to protect and empower vulnerable groups, some argue that it poses a threat to traditional and religious beliefs deeply embedded in African societies. The progress made by countries like Rwanda in women's empowerment and the ongoing fight against gender-based violence in nations like Kenya underscore the continent's ability to address these issues within its own cultural context. Navigating international human rights standards with local customs and norms will be crucial in navigating this sensitive and significant issue. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Cynthia Nivioandi, and you're watching the African News Network. Stay connected for more news and updates here on the African News Network, on our website, mobile app, and social media platforms.